In this video, we're going to look at discovery. This is the process that we use to direct the Statseeker server to identify and establish communications with the elements of the network that we want to monitor. The first time we see discovery is during the final step of the installation process. Here, I have a new server. I've just finished licensing the server, and one of the options is Discover Network. We're asked to select an IP address range. I don't have any configured, so I'll create one, name it, and specify some include and exclude ranges. The syntax is available from the help icon. I'll drop in some ranges. I can add additional rules, and I can add additional IP range configurations. Statseeker will monitor devices by both ICMP and SNMP. And for SNMP, we need SNMP credentials for the devices. Name the config. Select the SNMP version. For SNMP v1 and v2, we just need the community string. For SNMP v3, we have options for encryption, privacy, and context. Select which ranges and which credentials to use, and start discovery. We have a running summary indicating the current step and the outcome of completed steps in the discovery process. We also have a running detailed discovery log. Now, I've just selected a small range for this discovery, only containing 60 or 70 devices, so it'll only take a couple of minutes, but I'll speed it up. On completion, we have access to the log, to download the log, and the full discovery data. This is the log plus the configuration elements that went into the discovery process and can be very useful in troubleshooting discovery issues. I'll hit finish and go to the console. And here we can see all of the devices that Statseeker located during the discovery. And these devices are now being monitored by the Statseeker server. After the install, these discovery options are all available from the admin tool. Under Network Discovery, we have our SNMP credentials. And we have the options here to manage our sets of credentials. In IP ranges, we have the range that I previously added and the ability to add new range configurations. An option we've got here is importing ranges from a file. The syntax is presented, and it's the same syntax we used in specifying the IP range, one statement per line, but we just need to prefix the line with an include or exclude. Lines without a prefix are treated as an include. Select your file and import. Give it a name and save the configuration. I'll just quickly add another range. And if you have a range that you typically don't want to pass through to discovery, then you can disable it. Disabled ranges will be ignored by discovery processes unless manually selected in the discovery configuration. And that's what we're going to look at next. Off to discovery. We have our network discovery. It's very similar to what we just saw previously. Hitting run now will initiate the default network discovery. And this will reference all of the SNMP credentials that we've saved and target all of the enabled IP ranges. But we can customize discovery, targeting only a subset of the network and referencing just a selection of the credentials. If you have a specific purpose in mind, then tailoring the process can greatly reduce the time required to run the discovery. We also have the option to use the contents of the server's host file rather than your IP range configurations. The host file is available under Network Discovery Advanced Options, Host File. Where IP range configurations are IPv4 only, the host file can handle both IPv4 and IPv6 addresses. It's got a very basic syntax, just the IP address, one or more spaces, and the device name, one device per line. We can further tailor the discovery process with the advanced options. How will Discovery handle known devices, those that have been discovered previously? If I'm just wanting to discover the new devices that I've recently added to the network, I can use this setting and ignore known devices, speeding up discovery. Or I can rediscover known devices, and this enables these other options here. Either of the bottom two options in retest credentials allows you to have the discovery update which credentials are assigned to a device. If you change the credentials on the device, it won't respond to SNMP queries which reference the old credentials. By retesting credentials, Statseeker will iterate through the list, and when it finds the credentials that allow access to the device, it will then assign those as credentials for that device. Custom data type discovery is enabled by default. So as polling of new data types is enabled on the server through updates or CDT packages, running discovery will test your devices to see which devices are able to return that new data. The SNMP options section has a range of settings which can be used to fine-tune SNMP communications with devices that are having trouble communicating with Statseeker. Some of these options will impact both the performance and the output of the discovery process, and generally, you'll only want to be adjusting these values under guidance from Statseeker support. Monitoring options looks at interface monitoring options. Do we want to monitor interface upper status and admin status? And do we want to collect metrics on non-unicast data? The default values for these options can be set in Network Discovery Advanced Options, Advanced Options. In the Discovery section, adjust as needed and safe. And the last section is post-discovery actions. You can nominate to send an email when the discovery completes, and options for which auto-grouping rules to run, your custom auto-grouping rules, and the default interface speed and interface type rules. Again, the default values for these can be set in Advanced Options in the Grouping section. A ping-only discovery will set newly discovered devices as ping-only devices, and Statseeker will only monitor them via ICMP. Data will be restricted to pin metrics such as RTT, jitter, and packet loss. The customization options are restricted to how to handle secondary IPs on known devices and our post-discovery actions. The remote ping-only is just ping-only discoveries which are run from deployed observability appliances. If you're not familiar with observability appliances, there's sections in the documentation and some videos related to deploying those appliances and how to make use of them in your network. And we have Manual Device Edition. To discover a single device, simply specify the IP, a device name, and what credentials to use. For multiple devices, we require a CSV file. This file requires a specific header row, so just download the example file, update the content, and you can't go wrong. Manual Device Edition has the same advanced options as Network Discovery. And lastly, the Rewalk. Now, this is a variation of the discovery process, which doesn't discover new devices. Rather, it processes known devices, looking for configuration changes that have been made to the device, and then updating the Statseeker configuration in response to those changes. The default rewalk targets all known devices, but you can tailor that rewalk to select groups of devices or individually specify the rewalk targets. Again, the same advanced options as we saw in Network Discovery. The Statseeker server has a default rewalk scheduled for 11 a.m. server time every day. This is a method to ensure that the configurations that Statseeker relies on are up to date. This daily schedule can be modified to run at a different time or more or less frequently. View Schedules provides the interface to manage the discovery schedules configured on the server. We can see the daily rewalk here. We have the option to edit that schedule. I can update the start time, set it as a one-time only discovery run, switch it to a weekly schedule or monthly. And in the advanced option, we specify the schedule in a cron tab syntax. If you aren't familiar with that, use the documentation link here. It requires 5 fields: minute, hour, day of the month, and day of the week. We have the allowed values for each of those fields and some notes around the use of wildcards, ranges, and lists. And I've also dropped in a few examples to illustrate their use. Let's look at scheduling some additional discoveries. A scheduling option has been added to network discovery, rewalk, and ping-only discovery. The top-level scheduling option in network discovery and rewalk allows you to schedule the default process, all enabled IP ranges, referencing all SNMP credentials, and obeying the default settings for everything in the advanced options. But you can drop into Customize, configure the process as needed, and then schedule. In this instance, you're scheduling the customized discovery process. One thing to be very mindful of when scheduling discoveries is that only a single discovery process can be running at a time. The first step in any discovery is a check to see if there's already a discovery running on the server, and if there is, then the new process will not proceed. Back in discovery, I'll just quickly kick off a rewalk. And if I head back to the discovery page, we can see that we have a rewalk running and the option to initiate another discovery is unavailable. Recent discoveries contains historical discovery records, offering the same options as the discovery completion screen. Statseeker can store years of discovery records, but if your server is monitoring a very large network, say in excess of 500,000 interfaces, then you'll typically have somewhere between 3 and 6 months worth of discovery records. And that's a look at Statseeker's discovery process. There's more detail on discovery and the associated functionality in the documentation.